Hello, and welcome to my presentation today about basic knot tying for beginners. You may be surprised to hear that a lot of businesses have protocols in place when it comes to knots. And that is for one simple reason: it's productivity. As a business, you wouldn't want anybody to have to spend 10-15 minutes trying to figure out how to untie a knot if you're working with rope every single day. That would be very unproductive. You want anybody on the property at any time to be able to identify quickly and efficiently the knot that was used and how to untie it, and just immediately begin untying. That being said, let's go through some knotting terms before I really show you how to do some of these knots. Alright, first we got a jam. Now, a jam is not good. A jam is when either the knot was tied improperly, maybe the rope was wet, but for whatever reason the knot is too tight and won't come undone through normal methods. You might even have to end up cutting the rope. You lose the use of the rope at that point. It's just not good. A couple of terms we're definitely going to use today are standing end and working end. Today I got this red rope here. My standing end is always going to be this bare piece over here, and my working end is this piece over here. Standing end is the end that's going either on the ground, tied to something else. Your working end is the end that you're using in your the knot that you're tying to your anchor, which is today my trusty vacuum. A couple of other terms we need are going to be loop and bite. A loop is what it sounds like. It is a loop in the rope. Your standing end comes in one end, comes down around, and then loops back over itself, crossing itself exactly one time right here at the top. And a bite is when you take a rope in your hand and you pull a length of it like this. Now you notice that it doesn't actually cross over itself at any point here. It's just a length of rope that you have in your hand where it doesn't cross over. That's the difference between a loop and a bite. And then cinch is when you finish tying your knot and you just pull it nice and tight upon itself so that the rope binds, causing the friction needed to keep the knot hopefully nice and tight throughout its use. Today we're going to start with the half hitch, most basic of all the knots. You just pass it over your anchor point once, come around, go through your loop. That is your half hitch. Come back, go over the loop again. That's two half hitches right on top of each other. This knot a lot of times is used in conjunction with other knots to keep the working end nice and tight, or even up and away from other parts of the knot. Most of the time it's used to cinch knots that would work loose otherwise. And we're going to show you one of those right now. That's the clove hitch. The clove hitch is a very good knot if your standing end is going to be tight the entire time. This part here, if that's going to be tight the whole time, you can pull this nice and tight. You make your loop around your anchor point. You cross over your standing end, keeping this loop nice and tall. Go under your anchor point again for your second loop. And you see, and then you cross your loop. You cross your working end under your loop again, and you cinch it nice and tight. Now, this is a good knot, but if this standing end is going to be worked back and forth a bunch, this isn't me putting a lot of pressure on this, and you can see that working end getting smaller. Eventually, given enough time, that's going to come loose. That's not really what you want out of a knot. So like I said, a lot of people using clove hitches take that and just throw a couple of half hitches right on top. So that's a clove hitch with two half hitches, and now no matter how much you work it, because this working end is tied up into two half hitches, it can't come loose from that clove hitch. So that is a knot you would want if the standing end is going to be tight the whole time. This last one is a knot where you're not going to necessarily need your standing end to be tight the whole time. It's called a bowline knot. It is essentially just a loop on the end of a rope. I'm going to tie it first to show you the loop, and then I'll untie it and retie it. But the loop on the end of the rope, like so, and you can put that around, like say a cleat, or wrap it even around on itself to go like you pass the standing end through the line here, and you can go around on it like that. Nice versatile knot. It is a little trickier than the other two to tie, but we're going to go through that here right now. Very easy to untie once you do know how to do it. So what you do is you pass it over your anchor point. Okay, you make a loop in your standing end, and then the rabbit method is you take your working end, like a rabbit, he comes out of his hole, he goes around the tree looking for something to eat, he gets scared and he dives back into his hole, same way he came out. Okay, and then you grab your standing end and you cinch it down, giving you a nice tight knot that isn't going to slip, and no matter like how loose or tight this is, that knot cinches down upon itself. So very, very good knot. I hope that helps you today. Understand just a couple of very basic knots that get used every day. And that's about my time. So thank you very much and have a good day.